Hello, and welcome to another lesson from Level Up Mathematics. In today's lesson, we will be solving equations with variables on both sides. Before we get started, let's look at the steps to accomplish this. In step 1, you want to remove any parentheses or combine any like terms if necessary. Step 2, you're going to collect all of the variables on one side of the equation, and then you're going to use inverse operations to solve the remaining equation. So let's look at how this works in practice. We have 7n minus 7 is equal to 2n plus 23. Now in this problem, we don't have any parentheses, so we can skip that step. So I'm going to go straight to step 2, which says I want to collect all the variables on the same side of the equation. So I'm going to start on the right-hand side, and I want to remove the 2n from the right side. So if I want to remove positive 2n, I would have to subtract it. Now, if I subtract 2n on the right side, I would have to subtract 2n on the left side. Now, 7n minus 2n would give me 5n minus 7 equals 23. Now, once you've done that, you've got a normal two-step equation that you can solve. We're going to use inverse operations to solve this. So, what is being done to n in this problem? Well, we're multiplying it by 5, and then we're subtracting 7. So if I do the opposite of that, I would add 7 and divide by 5. So add 7, so 5n equals 30, and then divide by 5 to get n equals 6. All right, let's look at another example of that. In example 1, it says solve each equation below. And in problem A, we have 2x plus 15 equals 43 minus 5x. Now, I want you to start on the right side of the equation. Notice on the right side of the equation, there's a negative 5x. We want to remove that negative 5x. So the opposite of negative 5x would be plus 5x. So I will add 5x to this side, which means I must add 5x to this side. Now, when you add it to the left side, make sure you line it up under the 2x and not under the 15. Excuse me. All right, now let's combine like terms. Let's see. 2x plus 5x gives me 7x plus 15 is equal to 43, because this would zero out. All right, now we have a normal problem to solve. We have 7x plus 15 is equal to 43. So for the x, we're multiplying it by 7 and then adding 15. So if I do the opposite of that, I would have to subtract 15 from both sides and then divide by 7. So let's try that. We have 7x. All right, 43 minus 15 gives me 28. And then divide by 7. So x is equal to 4. All right, problem B. We have negative 6x plus 1 equals negative 13 plus x. So remember, we're starting on the right side. And we want to remove the variable that is on the right side. So the variable that's on the right side is positive 1x. So if I want to remove positive 1x, I would have to subtract 1x from that side and subtract 1x from this side. Now, be very careful here. When you do that, you have negative 6x minus 1x. So you might want to use your calculator here. Negative 6 minus 1. That would be negative 7x plus 1 equals negative 13, and x minus x would zero out. Now we have a normal equation to solve. We have negative 7 times x plus 1. So if we do the opposite, we'll subtract the 1 and then divide by negative 7. So negative 7x would equal negative 13 minus 1 is negative 14, and then divide by negative 7. So x equals, a negative 14 divided by negative 7 would be positive 2. Now, if you have a problem with decimals, you're going to work this the same way. You're always going to start on the right side, and you want to remove that variable. So if I wanted to get rid of positive 0.1x, I would have to subtract 0.1x. So 0.1x there and 0.1x there. All right, 0.6x minus 0.1x is 0.5x minus 5 equals, this would zero out and leave me 7. Now, just solve it the normal way. We have 0.5 times x minus 5. So if I reverse that, I would have to add 5 and then divide by 0.5. So let's start by adding 5. So 0.5x equals 12. Now divide by 0.5. X equals, so you put that in your calculator if you don't feel comfortable doing that in your head. 12 divided by 0.5 gives me 24. All right. Now I want you to look at the interesting thing that happens on problem D. We have 32x minus 16 is equal to 4x. So if I start on the right side, the variable that I need to remove is positive 4x. So to remove positive 4x, I'm going to subtract it. So 32x minus 4x would be 28x minus 16, and 4x minus 4x is equal to 0. So you need to write that 0 down. You can't just leave the right side blank, okay? So now we're going to solve this. 28x minus 16 is equal to 0. So if I reverse the order here, we would have to add 16 and then divide by 28. So let's try that. Add 16, add 16. So 28x equals 16, and then divide by 28. All right, so we'll put that in my calculator. 16 divided by 28. We get a decimal. Now, there were no decimals in the original problem, so our answer must be written as a fraction. So I'm just going to push my little fraction button, and I get 4 over 7. All right, problem E. 2m plus 9 minus 4m equals m minus 12. Now, we've got a problem here. This is the first time that we have seen like terms on the same side. So, if you go back up here to step 1, it says remove any parentheses and combine any like terms if necessary. So in this particular problem, we need to combine these like terms before we move on. So 2m minus 4m would be negative 2m plus 9 equals m minus 12. All right, now look at the right side, and we want to remove that 1m. So to remove positive 1m, I would have to subtract 1m from both sides. All right, now be very careful here. Negative 2m minus 1m is negative 3m. If you're not sure, just type it in your calculator. Negative 2 minus 1. Okay? Plus 9 equals, this zeroes out, and over here, be sure to drop down a negative 12. All right, now we can solve this. Subtract 9 so negative 3m would equal negative 21, and then divide both sides by negative 3. So m equals positive 7. All right, problem F. Now, in problem F, we have some parentheses and some like terms. So, according to the order of operations, we want to start with our parentheses. So, let's drop down the 2x plus the 4x minus the 2, and then let's multiply everything in this parenthesis by 2. So, 2 times x, 2x. 2 times 7, 14. And then we have parentheses on the other side, 4 times 3.5. That gives me 14. So step 1, we removed all of our parentheses. Step 2, let's combine the like terms. So we have a 2x plus the 4x plus the 2x. So that would be 8x. Now we also have negative 2 plus 14 that can be combined. And that would give me positive 12. And that is equal to 14. All right, now all the parentheses are gone. All the like terms are combined. Once you do that, oh, I see a mistake I made. Hopefully you caught it. I forgot the x, and this greatly changes the problem. So I'm so glad I caught that before we continued on, because if there is an x on the right side, we need to remove it. All right, so that's what we're going to do first here. So I want to remove the 14x from this side, which means I must also subtract it from this side. Okay, so 8x minus 14x is negative 6x. And then we have plus 12. Now, remember, we can't just leave the right side blank. 14x minus 14x is 0. So it's very important that you just don't leave one of your sides blank. All right? Now we can solve this by subtracting 12. So negative 6x equals negative 12. And then dividing by negative 6. So x equals negative 12 divided by negative 6, positive 2. All right, let's look at our next set of problems. In example 3, it says the model below shows an equation with variables on both sides. Write and solve the equation that is modeled. Well, let's start by writing the equation. So on the left side of our equation, we have 2 x's. So I'm going to write that down. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 units. Squares. On the right side of our equal sign, we have negative 2x and then negative 2. That's the equation that's being modeled. Now what we want to do is come over here where we have a little room, and we want to solve this. So what I'd like you to do now is pause the video and try to solve this problem on your own. All right, welcome back. I hope you noticed that in this problem, on the right side, we have a negative 2x that we need to remove. So in order to remove a negative 2x, we would have to add a 2x. So let's see what happens when we do that. 2x plus 2x is 4x. Plus 6 equals, this would zero out, and I need to drop down a negative 2. So check your work so far in the problem. All right, now we just need to solve this. We are going to subtract the 6 and then divide by 4. So subtract the 6. That would give me 4x equals, negative 2 minus 6 would give me negative 8, and then divide by 4. Negative 8 divided by 4 gives me negative 2. So our solution would be x is equal to negative 2. All right, example 4. The perimeters of the rectangle and triangle shown below are equal. I want to highlight because that's important in this problem. Write an equation to represent this situation and then solve for x. Now, what you have to remember is to find the perimeter of any shape, you simply add up all the sides. So in this rectangle, the top would be 5x minus 2, and the left side would be 3x minus 0.5. So if I added up all four sides, I would add this, 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 and this. So 5 plus 3 is 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. 13 plus 3 is 16x. Okay. Now I'm going to add up my constants. I have negative 2 plus negative 2 plus negative 0.5 plus negative 0.5. You might want to put this in the calculator if you're afraid of making mistakes. So negative 2 plus negative 2 plus negative 0.5 plus negative 0.5. And that equals minus 5. Now, the perimeter of the rectangle is equal to, so I'm going to put it equals, the perimeter of the triangle. So now we're going to find an equation for the perimeter of the triangle. So to do that, I'll add my like terms. So 2x plus 2x is 4x, and 4x plus 10x is 14x. So that would be 14x. Now I need to add my constant terms, 3 plus 3 minus 5. So if it makes you feel more comfortable, put that in your calculator, 3 plus 3 minus 5, and you get positive 1. So now we have the equation that represents this situation. 16x minus 5 is equal to 14x plus 1. Okay, now we're going to solve this. So I'm going to come up here where I have a little room. 16x minus 5 equals 14x plus 1. All right, pause the video and try to solve this equation on your own. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you realize that on the right side there's a 14x you needed to remove. So to remove positive 14x, we want to subtract 14x. Do that first. So 16x minus 14x is 2x minus 5 equals, this would zero out and leave me a 1. Now we have a normal equation to solve. All we have to do is add 5 and divide by 2. So add 5. So 2x is equal to 6. Now divide by 2. 6 divided by 2 gives me 3. All right? If you got any of that incorrect, pause the video and fix it right now in your notes. All right, the last thing we're going to do is find our perimeter. Now, since the perimeter of the rectangle and triangle are the same, I only need to find the perimeter of one of them. So I'll just find the perimeter of the triangle. So let me get rid of that. We know that our x value is 3. So that means if I were to plug in a 3 to each one of these expressions, let's see, put a 3 there. So 2 times 3 is 6. 6 plus 3 is 9. So that tells me this side is 9 and this side is 9. Now down here we have 10 times 3 minus 5. Put 3 there. So 10 times 3 is 30. 30 minus 5 is 25. So I know this side is 25. And remember, to find the perimeter of a triangle, we add up all three sides. So 9 plus 9 plus 25 gives me 43. So my perimeter would be 43. And that concludes today's lesson, solving equations with variables on both sides.